Welcome back. Last time we did a bunch of cool stuff, made the internet very angry, and posited that there may be no comprehensive way to conclude the saga of Gordon Freeman's personal vendetta against the extra-dimensional space Borg better than it's technically already been done. However, end of the line it may be for Dr. Freeman. We, for our money, are left with at least one last salient question. Who's this guy? The Briefcase Man, or Spooky Obi-Wan Kenobi as he prefers to be known, is an ever-present force within the series. He makes sparse appearances throughout the games just to let you know that he cares, and also that he's implicitly very powerful. We're told precious little of what he is or of his origin, save that he seems to belong to his very own collective of similarly powerful creatures, who themselves may not always agree with his agenda, but at least seem to see fit to let him be. Quite a mystery. It's revealed in Episode 2 that this strange human-shaped entity is directly responsible for every single twist of the series' plot thus far, for the worse or for the better. Yet we aren't given much of a clue as to his motivations, except that of our bitter and pitiful human struggles, he seems to be just tickled pink, and that the upshot of our first encounter with him seems to have resulted in two obvious things. One, the liberation of the Vortigons from bondage to the Nihilanth. The Nihilanth. Yep. That's just cool, actually. And two, he facilitated in our opening of some sort of interdimensional rift which allowed the universal union of bad guys to rock up and spoil the celebration. After which, the fruit of his labor is that we eventually managed to kick them out again, and he uses series protagonist Gordon Freeman to do the bulk of the legwork. And I can't overemphasize how important this is, because in a hypothetical proper Half-Life 3, if Dr. Freeman was destined to be the right man to once and for all pull the final Jenga piece out of the universal bad guy's extra-dimensional space stack, then it'd most likely be this supernatural so-and-so who'd mastermind it. However, I feel, here again, Valve may have slipped into the same swamp as with the baddies, in that this tricky space oddity of a fellow appears to be yet another one of them Lovecraftian nightmare creatures, singularly more terrifying than any one combined Borg monster by virtue of his completely unfettered power over time and relative dimensions in space. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say unfettered? I meant to say very fettered. But I do promise we'll get to that eventually. Though you can see it's the same problem, right? Again, this element of the story is undefined. Too undefined. I suppose Valve doesn't want to spoil his mystique, because just like the Combine, he's something of a mystery box, valuable to the story precisely because he's a mystery. But then, he also serves as an instigator of things, yeah? He has a plan with a logical end, right? Right? And if the developers want that magnificent work of art to unfurl before us like a delicate origami sculpture, then they might just have to put something in the blessed box, Mr. Abrams. Paper, I would imagine, for a start. But please give us something, sir. Mr. Abrams? JJ!
I find myself drawn to infinite possibility and that sense of potential, and I realize that mystery is the catalyst for imagination. And I started to think that maybe there are times when mystery is more important than knowledge.
Lord love a duck.
What are stories but mystery boxes?
Parables with moral value? Amusing recounts of poetic irony? Ripping yarns of victorious triumph over adversity? Oh, I suppose they can be a series of dramatic moments stapled together by a thin tether of enigmatic threads purpose-built to keep us guessing week to week for the sole sake of engagement. But gosh! Look, I do appreciate a mystery as much as anyone. But do you know why? It's because I want to know. Yet, if in the end it turns out there is nothing to actually know, then I'm probably not going to get what I want. Is this a controversy? In my old age, I've come to appreciate that not every story has to be some kind of elaborate Swiss watch. Some works are metaphorical, subconscious and dreamlike, mysterious even unto their creators, who may really just want to share something deeply personal, which they themselves can't quite figure out. I can respect that. It's fascinating to say the least. Hey, there's still a mystery to solve. Hey, it might even just scratch an itch you never even knew you had. right up until the writers trap themselves in a barren hole with no escape, and it derails their story for 12 years. Sometimes you gotta fill up the box. Put treasure in the treasure chest, peg leg. Arr, fill it up with gold. Or else we all just let Malloy run off with our money, Mr. Abrams. Wait, what the? Oh. Oh no! And so when it comes to this ambiguous government man-shaped Time Lord, are we at all certain Valve have done the legwork? At least by this point in the story? Did they themselves know who and what this unclassified wonder actually is? Do they now? Is there a design Bible somewhere with every last detail of his existence carefully metered? If not, why not? Because if every plot point of the series actually was this unspeakable creature's plan, then a hypothetical next installment in the story would also be his doing, yeah? However, if indeed his constitution has been kept vague, even unto his creators so as not to spoil the mystique, well, there's your problem right there! I don't care if he actually is a Time Lord, or time-traveling Abraham Lincoln. I don't need to be immediately led on. But Gabe should at least know! Help! Gabe! Gaben, please! Tell us about this uncanny agent of the Continuum disguised as a government official! It's been 25 years and he doesn't even have a name! We'll call him the Q-Man. Again, it's not until late into episode 2 that we're explicitly told that the Q-Man is actually responsible for everything. Though we probably could have guessed. But it's also here wherein it's hinted that he might actually be able to see the future somewhat. Oh dear, no, dear. Oh dear, no. I'll concede that this addition to the character does make him even more Lovecraftian spooky. If we can all agree that that's because now he really is responsible for it all. Because he foresaw it all! And everything that's happened is either according to his design or with his permission. And you know what? That's actually cool. Like Stick of Cthulhu in your video game, it's undeniably cool. I can enjoy that. In theory. If it weren't for just about every single thing he says. Yeah, it's finally time to talk about this bit. If we can dismiss that weird end of Half-Life 2 as some sort of accounting necessity, then perhaps we can ditch this awkward opening of the very next installment too. I wonder, if they'd known the story would resume at the exact moment the previous game ends, would the writers perhaps have chosen not to include Captain Saddlebags here? Because the very first thing this new installment does is get rid of him. I'm not sure why. Again, it's not at all clear what he had planned, but this time that's because before he can blah blah blah, does the Vortigons intervene? That's right, with a deep knee bend to the Oddworld inhabitants and not a single explanation as to how they knew where to be, these guys teleport in to bounce Alex and Gordon to relative safety and... Wait, what? They teleport now? They teleport now! Alright, they always did that. So, that's not just a perk of working for the Nihilanthe? Well, gee, I wonder where that could have come in handy! And I'm just nitpicking now, but the place they choose to dump our hero is right outside the building about to blow up. These fellows are part of the Resistance, right? And presumably know this, yeah? They know precisely where Gordon is standing, but aren't able to catch us up on current events? Oh no, poor Gordon's forced to Skype with Professor Exposition here to learn all the important stuff, such as how the citywide explosion can actually be delayed? If only we can get to the core! So, couldn't you guys have just taken us straight to the core? Or go to the core yourselves? Since completely unrestricted teleportation opens up such a large can of plot worms, I think the story might appear more robust if our heroes were able to get out of this situation on their own and discover for themselves what to do with the core. Again, the ideal melding of Episode 1 into Half-Life 2 as its true ending. But anyway, if this rescue scene really is necessary, then... okay. But I must say, it would have been better to keep the Q-Man out of it at least. Because while the Vortigons here may ding the continuity a tad, it ain't nothing compared to what happens to our old gaffer.
We'll see about that.
Will we though? What am I looking at? You're telling me that Gordon Freeman's boss here is outclassed by the Vortigons? The Vortigons! who were enslaved to the Nihilanth, who was killed by Gordon Freeman. What is this, Space Jenkin? These guys die to bullets. They literally can't outclass a crowbar to the knee! What is going on? People, please, Valve, I implore you, get rid of all of this. Or at the very least, never again talk to me about how the omniscient Lovecraft monster man is vulnerable to Vortigaunt energy.
That doesn't make any sense.
Now you may be dubious and say,
Oh, come on, Anthony, is this origami sculpture really so many folds short of a masterpiece?
well, say, friend, do you remember when he said this?
Blah, 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 Dr. Freeman.
Well, he didn't say that. What he actually said was, skibbity-dibbity-ring-a-ding-ding-ding-diddly-swag! I'm sorry, I'll stop that now. In the middle of Half-Life 2, Episode 2,
Dr. Freeman.
the moment Tony, Todd, and crew have their backs turned, our creepy old friend puts the brakes on the action for a spell to have a little chat with Gordon, that is, us, directly. The scene goes on for a while, and he elaborates a modicum of his history with the Black Mesa facility from the first game, before compelling us to do more of his nefarious bidding. But what it all boils down to is 4 separate salient points. First, he confirms that he is part of a collective of creatures much like himself. And second, he explains that, against their objections, he and he alone is responsible for extricating Alex Vance from the Black Mesa incident all those years ago. Yeah, it turns out she was knocking around the back rooms there, and we never saw her, I guess, so he apparently went and rescued her for no better reason than, well, he likes her. Ugh. Thirdly, in payment for allowing Gordon to live, he demands that we
See her safely to White Forest, Dr. Freeman.
Sure.
I was doing that already.
I kid you not, he says,
See her safely to White Forest.
as though we have a choice to do something else. Which, come to think of it, what if he told you don't take her to the White Forest? And you can choose to defy him? Ooh, conflict. But no, instead, he makes this odd deal with Gordon, which is just like... Well, let me put it this way. Imagine you're at work, flipping burgers or something. No, you're at the register, and suddenly a creepy neighbor shows up and says,
Hi.
Oh, hi there, how you doing?
Fine. Say, friend, do you recall yesterday when I saved your pet dog from being run over by a car?
Oh, yeah, of course. Thanks again for that.
Yes, well, I'm afraid the time has come for me to extract a payment for this service.
Oh. What do you want?
I would like a number 4 with fries.
What? Oh! Yeah, of course, man. Sure. Excellent. That'll be $9.50.
Here's 10.
Sweet.
Keep the change.
Now what kind of sideways deal was that?
And finally, as she awakens from her supernatural surgery, he tells young Alex,
When you see your father, relay these words. Prepare for unforeseen consequences.
He says that. Gordon watches him say that. And later Alex obeys. She does relay the message to her father, who seems to miss the gist of it, because he doesn't prepare for anything. Not that there's a lot he could meaningfully do. How do you prepare for unforeseeable things?
The more I think about that warning from our friend, the more I'm convinced it has to do with Borealis. Don't be deceived. That ship must never be used. You have got to destroy it. whatever the cost.
Oh, so this is a reference to the dimension-hopping Borealis dealie. Of course, from this point on, it's the only thing about which Eli seems to be worried, but Eli's about to die! And presumably our besooted friend here knows it. Thus, if this isn't the unforeseen consequence for which we've all apparently failed to prepare, then it's gonna be a tad difficult to prepare for any other consequences, foreseen or otherwise, on account of the fact that he's about to be dead! Do you want him to do things or not? Please tell me, what is the point of saying anything at all if logically you knew that this is exactly how Eli was gonna respond and it won't amount to a hill of potatoes? Do you want him to die? Is this just so that you can say, I told you so? 'Cause did you? Why are you so bad at conveying important information? Just tell him he's about to get snuffed by a She'ulathoi! She'ulathoi. She'ulathoi.
The Combine's on the move.
Yes, and they carry She'ulathoi. A visor's still in incubation pods.
The simplest answer to this is, we don't know. Because
Nobody knows.
he's a blessed mystery box, and this is fan service. Not one appearance he's made since the start of the first enumerated sequel has made any sense at all, and every time he's opened his mouth, it only serves to dissipate the mystique. Now, this possible reference to the Borealis may be an exception, if indeed our man was trying to warn Eli not to use the thing. But the story is stopped, so there's no way to know. Of course, in 2016, longtime series writer Mark Laidlaw announced his retirement from Valve Software, and sometime later made public a short story which patently outlays the plot of what might have been the next Half-Life sequel game, in which the protagonists best fitting our heroes do head off to find the story's equivalent of the Borealis. They succeed, and then over traitor lady's dead body, they set out to scupper the thing as per Eli's request. We learn nothing much of anything else, save that the principal baddies are not defeated. What? And then the story stops. Hey, the story stops? What do you want from me? Closure? Well, aren't you a precious little Veruca? Of course, it's obviously not fair to criticize an unfinished rough draft. So I'll let you read it, or watch this really cool animatic, links below, and make up your own mind as to whether or not the creators knew what to do with this guy. But as for me, well, gee, man. From where I'm sitting, it's impossible to finish this story without having our old friend eventually tip his hand and reveal his ultimate goal. And yet, in the end, the most telling part of Mr. Laidlaw's unfinished work, a story which woulda, shoulda, coulda been the final chapter of Dr. Gordon Freeman's fantastic fight against his fearsome alien foes. A real Half-Life 3 is that it ends on a to be continued.